So, um, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today I have with me Anne-Marie Barlow from Modu, and going to talk about her business and what she does and how it all came about. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, nice of you to join us here in sunny Macclesfield today. It's not usually like that, is it?
Not usually. No.
So what business is called Modu, the product's HT4. What is it? Let's start there. What's it? Yeah.
Well, it's a system actually.
Okay.
So it's a system to help people who are going through a hair transplant.
Okay.
So it's the aftercare.
Mm.
It's for clinics, it's for clinics and for patients. So it's
Okay.
to help the clinics with their protocol, and it's there for the patient to be used.
Okay. For someone who doesn't really know about or hasn't researched much into hair transplants.
Well, you don't need to.
No, well, I
Luckily.
mean, God knows, you never know, do you?
You never know, but I don't.
You never know. Well, I'm surprised that, from what we've had a conversation about, aftercare for hair transplants is not really done very well, or it seems to be something missing, or
What, in terms of aftercare for clinics?
yeah, after surgery and
Yeah, there's been a few attempts on the market. There's a few little products here and there,
yeah,
but no one really addressed the whole biology of how the scalp heals.
right,
And I mean, HT4 is not going to change the biology, but
right,
what it does is it supports it, makes the patient more comfortable, allows them to follow a system,
yeah,
but it also gives the clinics a little bit of freedom to, once they've done their bit, it's there ready for them. The system's there to support them as well.
okay. So, how did you get into this? What's your background?
Well, I've always been in hair forever.
Yeah,
I started as a Saturday girl in a salon at 11.
right.
And
Oh, wow.
my father had a salon, so
Mm.
I went there. And was running a chair by the age of 19.
Wow.
Had a full, diamond client, so it was great. And actually, one of my first exposure to a hair transplant was a client who'd had a hair transplant, but one of the early ones.
Oh, wow.
And bless him, he had literally the plugs across the front. So he'd had it done when he was 18. He was now in his 40s.
Wow.
And he had these plugs. You could see where they used to take them out in sort of a circular skin and then pop them in.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience of a hair transplant, and I was really intrigued, especially poor chap. He had receded further, but those follicles that had been transplanted still remained.
Yeah.
So that was my first sort of intrigue into hair loss, but hairdressing background, and then studied a lot about product with L'Oreal when I worked for Travis Sorby International.
Sure.
And then fell in love with product as well, and how it's made and what it can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like there's been a lot of development in the surgical world for hair transplants.
Oh yeah,
Since then.
Oh gosh, it's changed so much. Yeah, absolutely, it's changed. It's incredible now. What they can achieve is incredible.
Yeah.
And the surgeons, certainly about the ones that I've met that are members of the ISHRS, they they work together, they share knowledge.
Yeah.
They're just trying to improve standards all the time.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And their attention to detail. I was fortunate to watch 2 surgeries.
Right, okay.
In a clinic in Manchester.
Yeah.
They invited me to go along, which I jumped at the chance. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And the attention to detail was incredible. They cared for every single follicle.
Wow.
Yeah, every single one.
Yeah.
It was, and the teamwork was, second to none. It was amazing.
So when you were back in those days caring for your clients,
Mm.
seeing maybe hair receding, and
Yeah.
was there when did it become a thing where you thought something there's a something missing here, or there's something that could
Well,
be done to help, or I don't know.
when I worked for Trevor Sorbie International, I looked
Yeah,
after, well, he had originally started a charity called My New Hair. I
right.
don't know, you might have read about it, but
Mm,
he, his I think it was his sister-in-law, had cancer,
yeah,
and she had to wear a wig, and she didn't like the wig, and asked Trevor to have a look at it for her, and he realised quite a lot about wigs and what was on offer for people with cancer, etc.
yeah, yeah,
So he set up this charity, My New Hair, and he learned how to customise a wig. So that's personalising it basically for
yeah,
each individual person, and um, and then his idea was to train as many hairdressers to do this as possible,
right.
and he worked with Macmillan nurses, etc. So obviously I worked for him, so and I showed my interest, so he taught me how to look after wigs
Yeah,
and customize wigs, and so I headed that up in Manchester. We had a nice room for people to come in, and I looked after
yeah,
people who have cancer or transgender or whatever their circumstances were. Um, I did actually think about having a wig shop after that because
yeah,
I did really, really love it. I love that, the support that you're giving to somebody.
yeah.
It's more than a haircut. I mean, haircuts are really important,
Mm,
obviously, but it was more than that. And then, yeah, I carried on with that in Manchester. And then, really, what led to HT4
mm,
was someone really close to me had a hair transplant,
right.
and they sort of dived into this hair transplant without an awful lot of thought,
Yeah,
and um, and then we discussed afterward, at the aftercare, and then what they had to do, etc.
yeah.
And it just seemed a little bit basic
Mm,
for what they had been through and what they were going to, the products afterwards. It
yeah,
was,
yeah.
I just, yeah. And I thought, hang on a minute, there's something here.
Yeah.
And so I did quite a lot of research into
Mm,
it. I researched a lot into hair transplants and scalps,
mm,
etc. And then I worked with, I asked a surgeon,
mm.
actually, the person who done the surgery it was
Y
my stepson actually.
yeah,
And so yes, I looked into that
yeah,
and asked his help, and then I researched how to create product. And then I worked with a cosmetic house, and they've got
right.
dermatologists and scientists, etc. And so we worked together and
Yeah.
created the system.
'Cause you hear about, you know, hair transplants that fail or that need to be redone over time, and, you wonder whether half of that is just genetics, or, is it to do with, other aspects?
Well, it's a misconception that a hair transplant is going to sort it out for you,
Yeah,
hair
yeah.
loss. It's not really like that.
Right.
Um, there's a whole journey. People start off maybe on supplements,
Yeah.
and then they move on to maybe minoxidil or finasteride, which are the only two scientifically proven
Right.
things to take. You can
Okay.
take it topically or orally,
Yeah.
that can actually scientifically,
Mm.
help your hair.
Hmm.
Um, and then, obviously people try shampoos and that sort of thing as well. And then afterwards, if that's not enough, because
Yeah.
often, although it can slow it down, it will never cure it entirely.
Mm.
Then people might look into hair transplants, and then they'll think that that will cure them. But
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't really work like that. It can fill in the gaps.
Mm.
Those newly transplanted hairs will stay,
Yeah.
like that poor chap that
Yeah, yeah,
I met years ago.
yeah.
But if you continue to recede, and if you don't look after your hair transplant, you might not take the minoxidil and finasteride, for instance. You might not
Sure.
want to take that, or it's just your genetics.
Yeah,
You will continue to lose hair.
yeah,
So you might need another one. Not everybody will need another one, of course, but a lot of people will.
yeah,
And they don't realize that. So I think it's really important that when somebody goes for a hair transplant, they must understand that it might not just be a one-off.
yeah,
It
yeah.
could be for longer. They could need another one later on.
'Cause it's not a cheap thing to do, is it? You know, and if you want it done by, you know, the best people. It's
Yes.
going to be.
I mean,
Oh,
it's like anything, isn't it? You can pay sort of what you want, really, can't you?
yeah.
But you just have to make sure you've done the research and found the right clinic.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
need to make sure that the clinic that you go to,
Yeah.
you've got to make sure that the surgeon is actually performing the surgery.
Yeah.
Because what you can find
Uh,
is that they're leaving a lot of it to the technicians.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, who's to say they're not good enough? But
Right.
really, in terms of a standard,
Mm.
there's certain elements that need to be performed by the surgeon, like the
Mm.
incisions specifically.
Yeah. Yeah.
The technicians are allowed to put the transplants back in. They're allowed to, and they're allowed to finish off the extraction. But the incisions and the main elements, the tricky stuff, if you
Sure.
like, if we don't get into it too deeply, but it has to be performed by a surgeon.
So HT4,
hmm
what does it do?
So it supports the patient because once they leave the surgery,
yeah.
whilst the surgeon has done their best to give them a printout and explain to them how they should look after their scalp, I think it's been a long day. They've had an 8-9 hour surgery, and they're not necessarily listening to everything that they've been told
It's quite
to do.
an emotional thing to go through as well,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that too, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what HT4 does is it's so easy to follow.
Mm.
It's color coordinated from the box to the bottles.
Yeah.
There's a schedule on there that you can pre-enter your dates to make sure you're following the system correctly. So it's all set out really simply for you.
Yeah.
And what it does is it supports your scalp through all of the elements of of the recovery. Exactly.
And so how long is that process? Someone that's never heard of it before, is it quite sore after I mean, that sounds like a very stupid question.
Well, it is, it's pretty sore. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you think you have say you have 3,000 follicles, which is probably the maximum in the UK that somebody would really do in a day.
Right.
Probably maybe a bit less actually.
Yes.
But all those incisions in your scalp,
Yeah.
plus all the injections that you have throughout the surgery as well, for pain relief, etc.
Yeah.
And also they're constantly adding fluid as well under the skin, so you've got those injections too. So it's a lot of tiny little wounds on the scalp. Yeah, and they're using fantastic, incredible, instruments, but to limit, the scalp trauma, they're doing that. It's an incredible surgery. But at the end of the day, you have got all of those. So with HT4, if you have a scalp that is, slightly dry, or you might have dandruff, you might have any of these skin conditions, you need to clear that up before the surgery.
Right.
And so as part of our system, we do actually have a pre-shampoo. We call that phase 1.
Okay.
So that's a shampoo.
Right.
And we like people to use that for 30 days prior to their surgery. So that gives the shampoo a chance to work.
Yeah.
So it's got certain ingredients in there that will help your scalp be ready for surgery.
Yeah.
And make sure that the microbiome of the scalp is in perfect condition for your surgery. So that's 30 days before. And then the next phase, we call it phase 2. We have a medical device. So it is completely sterile. And it's a wound cleanse. And you do spray that on the scalp.
Right.
I think it's about every 2 hours, but you can do it beforehand. You can do it before, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to keep the scalp hydrated and moist and damp, because you've just come out of surgery for start. So and the idea is with this spray is so that you don't get, the idea of the game is not to get a hard crust on the scalp, because if a hard crust forms on the scalp post surgery, that's also itchy.
Right.
And if you were to scratch it, you could potentially, in the first through, first 7 days, you could potentially pull out any newly implanted follicles.
Yeah.
So the idea of the wound spray.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. I mean, All clinics, 95% of clinics.
Mm.
So there's a few that don't do it, but
Mm.
the majority of clinics do give people a spray
Yeah.
to keep their scalp.
Nice.
Yeah. But ours is the only one that's sterile.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a mist as well. So it's really gentle. It's not going to dislodge any follicles.
No.
It's really gentle medicine, and you just spray it on the scalp.
Right.
Yeah. So it's phase 2. And then phase 3
Yeah.
is after the first 3 days, which are probably the most painful.
Yeah.
And the swelling is calming down, etc. But phase 3 comes in, and there we have a shampoo, a gentle shampoo. It's foaming as well, so it means you don't actually have to touch the scalp.
Right.
So you just spray it, comes out foaming, sits on the scalp, hydrates the scalp, and then you rinse, and you can rinse that off. And we suggest not under the shower. We suggest, sort of having a cup just to pour it gently rather than a hard shower, raining down on your scalp. And then we have another misting spray, but this one is slightly different to the first one. It's been dermatologically tested, and it's just got other ingredients that are just more hydrating than the wound cleanse is.
Yeah.
And then finally we have a serum. It's part of the phase 3, and the serum is for overnight. So when you're going to bed at night and you want to get some sleep, and that can be a little bit tricky because you've got to sleep in an upright position.
Wow.
Yeah, because that helps with swelling.
Yeah.
And you also don't want anything touching your scalp. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys, and I say guys because it is mainly guys.
Yeah.
There is a small percentage of women as well, but the itch is just that's probably the worst thing for them. So the serum sits on the scalp overnight, also dermatologically tested,
Right.
and that will just keep their scalp hydrated through the night.
I mean, it's when you recover most as well, isn't it? Nice.
Yeah,
if you're not
absolutely.
sleeping and you're not.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'd affect the recovery more than anything.
Yes, yeah. And then phase 4, which is why we called HT4.
Right.
That's 4 phases.
Funny
There we go. Yeah, funny that. The 4th phase is our follow-on shampoo and conditioner. So once you're healed up, and that takes around 2 weeks.
Right.
That sort of phase 2 and phase 3 phase. And then phase 4, once your hair starts to grow back, our follow-on shampoo and conditioner will support your hair growth.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have your vitamins and that sort of thing that you need for growing strong, healthy hair. So we've got wheat protein in there, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the kind of the people that have used it? What do they think? What are their
Well, it's funny. Everyone sort of has their hero product,
Yeah.
So they have their favorites.
Yeah.
And when we launched the product in Berlin last year at the ISHRS Congress, we met lots and lots of surgeons, and it was really interesting, sort of, because we were giving out free product as etc. as well for everyone to use, and they just had their own. Well, I just really like that, and I thought they might all go for the same thing, but actually it wasn't like that. Their interest was, well, I really fancy that, or I want to try this, which I thought was interesting.
You wonder whether the way they do things affects something like that might help.
Yeah.
And then someone else might be different. It's funny, isn't it?
It is funny. So it's been interesting, the feedback in terms of people's favorite. Yeah. I suppose, look, the scalp's going to heal.
Yeah.
I mean, skin is an incredible, it's incredible what it can do.
Yeah.
But everybody deals with it in a different way. Their pain threshold is different, or it might. Some people might get a harder crust than others if they were to get one, and some people don't get one at all.
Right.
So that, I suppose, because of that natural biology, will depend on which product becomes your hero product. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really interesting that the things that we talk about on this podcast that you have never come into your sphere. Yeah, that actually, really help people. It's quite. I imagine it's quite a demoralizing thing if your hair starts to fall out and you're thinking, "Hey, I'm starting to look. This isn't me anymore."
Oh, it is, isn't it? It's very, very, very emotional. Yeah, it's really what a difficult thing.
Mm. You must have seen that quite a bit in previous
Yeah.
life as,
Yeah, and
hairstylist.
obviously in what I do now, I meet lots of patients.
Yeah,
Um, and I've been to, a few events where I've met. In fact, last year I went to an event in the EXL in London,
yeah,
and there was a team of um, people that had created product or hair systems for
sure.
people suffering hair loss. So not everybody is a candidate for a hair transplant, you see.
Mm.
So there are other systems in place. Like some people have a hair system made for them, bespokely made. So it would be basically a hair piece, if you like.
Yeah.
Um, and so there's people that can customize those
Mm.
to blend in with the rest of the hair. And so I was with other professionals in this field offering other services for people
Mm.
who lose hair. It might be, like I said, the hair piece or hair extensions, or SMP, which is the tattooing on the scalp.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is really specialized.
yeah.
Um, and and then we met with other hairdressers and discussed, it was sort of a forum, and we had this long discussion about it. And ultimately, it's so emotional
Mm.
if you're losing your hair
Yeah.
and you don't want to. Some
Yeah,
some people don't care at all. Some people just shave it off, not bothered.
yeah,
But a lot of people do
yeah.
care.
Not sure I say, my ears wouldn't suit their
Well, as long as you
Hello.
get left with someone this size.
Yeah. um, so I suppose the interesting is that it's one thing having an idea, and then it's one thing having a product, but actually there's a lot that goes into the process of from the idea to actually being there
Yeah.
and having people use it and presenting it at conferences and stuff.
Yeah.
What? How did it come about? Where I mean, so for example, the podcast, I was talking about it for a couple of years, and then I met George at a book signing, and he was doing the photographs and video of the whole night. And I was just saying, I was thinking about podcasting. He's like, "Oh, I did one last week. Come in, we'll shoot one."
Oh, bro.
And so you either meet someone that can make it happen, or suddenly you go, "Oh right, I just need to do that," or "I need to contact that person. I need to do
Yeah.
that." Was there a moment that you had that, or someone that you met where you thought, I could, that could take us to the next phase of bringing the idea to light, or
Do you know, it was actually, I mean, I know people talk about this, but it was lockdown for me,
yeah,
really. That it was
S-
lockdown that made me look at what else I could do,
yeah,
really, because I was homeschooling my twins.
yeah,
They were about 5 or 6 at the time. I was 26. And so I had them at either end of my kitchen table, and listen. And actually, their school was brilliant, so they were just sat with doing their lessons. But I had to just make sure that my son, in particular, was concentrating and getting the work done. So I was sat in the kitchen,
yeah,
and I love research.
yeah,
Anything I want to know, I will
yeah,
go and research it.
yeah,
I like to know the ins and outs.
yeah,
So I was just thinking about my career, everybody I'd worked with, um, researching things, and then I was also interested in people who had started up their own businesses and products, etc. So I was
yeah,
researching them and how they had done that.
yeah,
And I mean, there's a lot of products on the market
yeah,
that are made in people's kitchens, literally. Um, and obviously my work at Trevor's when we got sent to L'Oreal and we had all the training in formula, and they talked to us about the formulas of their products, etc. And yeah, so my interest was there. What I didn't know was that these cosmetic houses existed that could create product for you.
right.
And I did actually work in a salon short term,
Ah,
and the guy had his own product range, and I thought, how have you done? How have you done
that?
that? Yeah, how have you done that?
Yeah,
And there are some cosmetic houses that create product for you, and they've created the product, and then you can just stick your name on it.
yeah, yeah.
But it's sort of the same formula for everybody. So if you're a salon, you go,
Yeah,
great, brilliant.
yeah.
It looks really professional, doesn't it, in your own salon?
Branded.
Yeah, branding. But So yes, I knew that existed. So I ended up phoning up a few companies and God, I did feel a bit embarrassed on the phone. I did have that imposter syndrome, where I was like, really, can I do this? And but yeah, I had a really good response on the phone. So then I had some meetings with people, dragged my husband in, and had a few meetings with some companies about it. And and it went from there really.
Yeah.
And then I chose a particular one in the UK, and they were amazing because they knew it was the first time I'd created anything. But they just held my hand the whole way, So, I came up with the products. I knew what ingredients I wanted in them. Obviously, I don't know how to put that together, but I knew the ingredients I wanted to use. The research that I had done, I had a very good understanding of that, and and then I just knew it was those 7 elements. I knew that.
Yeah.
I was thinking, gosh, it's just quite a lot. But with all my research and everything, I just couldn't take any one of those elements out.
Yeah.
But I did think, oh gosh, this is a huge undertaking, considering I've never done this before.
Yeah.
But I just knew that it was those 7. When I'd studied the scalp and I knew how it was going to rejuvenate, if you like, and so I just knew that was the 7 products and went to them and they helped me.
It's a bit like the nootropics industry and biohacking, but for your scalp. What combination of things does it require to actually be beneficial for you? So is there anything, if you were to look back now, any kind of advice you'd give yourself from that time? Because some people, I've spoken to some really successful people and quite well-known people, and everyone has imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I think I always say everyone's winging it at some point.
Oh yeah, we're all winging it, aren't we?
Yeah.
We really are.
Yeah. And sometimes the advice can be, well, just believe in yourself. Be strong with what you're thinking.
Yeah. It took me a long time, but I just 100% believe in it now, and I believe in myself now, and I think when we launched last October, and we launched at the Congress in Berlin, and my husband came with me, and we had a stand, and I spoke to and I was nervous because obviously I'm in a room full of surgeons. So, but we just had such a good response.
Yeah.
And they were really supportive and really interested. And we got great feedback. And we got some feedback that we had to think about. For instance, like I said to you, gosh, it's 4 phases.
Yeah.
We actually then came up off the back of the conversations from the surgeons. We came back and we actually then devised it out of those 7 products. We devised a clinic pack, because some of them just said, well, we don't, phase 4, they can go and buy themselves, from you afterwards if they like. So, and, we just want to be able to offer phase 1 independently. So, and there was so much that seemed to resonate more with everybody that we thought, do you know what, we're going to come back and we're going to do a clinic pack so that some clinics can offer that.
But that's really important, isn't it? Part of the process, I suppose, where people are actually dealing with it in the front lines, and they know what issues they're having and what's going on and what would help them the most, and all that. So is it surgeons mostly, or clinics mostly, that would be that you would class as clients, or is it end users as well, or end users? That's such
the patient. I know, but we discussed how we would address them as well. We did. So we have, our customer is the clinics and the patients.
Yeah.
But a patient can certainly buy our product on our website. We can do that. But really, we want to work with the clinics because we want to support them, especially if they're going to grow.
Yeah.
Because what we offer will support them in making their life easier for the aftercare.
Sure.
They don't have to they don't have to think about it once, because obviously it's a system
Mm.
and it's followed from end to end seamlessly. So that's a real great support for the clinics.
Yeah.
It takes all the guesswork out for them. As they're growing, and some of them are doing 4 or 5 surgeries a week.
Yeah.
You know, but if you know that you're supported by HT4, you don't.
Yeah.
It makes your life easier.
I suppose there's an extra layer of care there as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's the month beforehand where you can go, use this beforehand,
Yeah.
also this, and so it gives us
Yeah,
this chance for success.
Because they would have had their consultation
Yeah.
weeks prior, so there's
Yeah.
plenty of time for them to use phase 1,
Yeah.
especially if they certainly need it.
Yeah.
But also for clinics, like I said, if they want to grow, and I mean, some of them have small teams as well, so it just takes one member of staff that they might not need.
With aftercare these days, do you think there's a big difference in the consistency of that around the industry?
Yeah.
So having some form of process would probably be good for that, wouldn't it?
That is it. It is consistency that we're supporting, really.
Yeah.
So that with your patients, you always offer the same thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they always offer obviously a pack. There's always there's always a pack. Every clinic that I've looked at their website or spoken to has an aftercare protocol. But for instance, most of them are not designed purposefully for a hair transplant.
No.
It's elements that they've put together. And so they might not have been dermatologically tested.
Yeah.
And I know that in terms of wound cleanse, ours is the only one that's a medical device and sterile.
Right.
So, and that's really, really important.
Yeah.
I mean, it is sterile, but then, it is sterile. Ours from start to finish. So, and that's really important. So we offer that.
So you alluded to twins.
Yeah.
and
You were 12 now.
Time passes, doesn't it? Yeah.
12.
My son was 2 during lockdown, and it makes.
I've probably got their ages wrong at lockdown, actually, because they're 12 now. And when was lockdown?
6 years ago.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
something
like that, isn't it? So it's challenging with just one, but twins as well, and obviously you mentioned that they were, their attention was hopefully on their work or what was going on, but it's very young and it's hard managing that, isn't it? And that, was there any thought about, this is really interesting, but are you really doing the right thing? Are you able to cope with starting a new business? Or
well, I mean, obviously it's been 6 years. It hasn't taken me all that time to do the HT4 project as such, but it was all that time in lockdown whilst they were young. It was all the research and the education behind me supporting the HT4. But once they were back to school, obviously you get back a little bit of your life, and then I think the biggest struggle was probably when they were still at primary school, and I was trying to do all the products, formulate them but obviously with the support of the team.
Sure.
And I could have done this a lot faster if I hadn't have had the kids, 100%. But I just had to accept that I just couldn't do it quickly.
Yeah.
And I had to give myself grace on that because I couldn't be on it every day, all day. Plus, I'm still working in salon, so I'm juggling all of those things, and so I just had to relax and not get stressed about it. I could have been really, really stressed, but I decided it's pointless because at the end of the day, I'm a mum, and I've got to fulfill that job as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's you hear it a lot around choices and balance and make
Yeah.
decisions. And often, I think that's great advice. Actually, just give yourself a break with it, and
Yeah.
just keep doing and just persevering, I suppose.
I think once I got over the imposter syndrome was probably the best. That was probably the best
It's an intimidating world, though,
bit
isn't
for
it?
me. Yeah.
Being around
Yeah.
surgeons and clinics, and so going from um, I'm looking for the right terms, but salons and hair styling and all the way through, and then and we're now going into kind of surgical, procedures, and it's very different. And I imagine that's quite a big step as well, being able to justify why this is good to people who um, can be quite black or white on things, and very
Yeah.
evidence-based as well.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, to be a surgeon, you're a highly intelligent person, aren't you? So that is intimidating.
Yeah.
So I would always just make sure I knew exactly what I was going to say, because I didn't want to feel stupid.
Yeah. I suppose that could help in terms of the making sure that everything is right and
Yeah.
and properly done,
Yes.
for the product. So was when you think back to a lot of the things where you find out you start something, there can be like loads of different things you've done in the past and loads of conversations you've had that might, and you think, well, I did that for a while. I don't know why I did that. And I don't, my 20s I call them the wilderness years, because I was in sales, I was in factories, I was in doing all sorts of things, trying to find a place on the planet where you could, survive or succeed or whatever. And then suddenly you start doing something, and everything, all the experience you've had in those areas comes into like making sense, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a similar thing that's happened to you?
Yeah, it's funny how you do reflect, don't you, on your life, and and it helps you understand why you got to where you are, perhaps, isn't it? I spent my 20s traveling. I just thought I never wanted to get married, never wanted to have kids, and I just wanted to travel forever.
Travel forever, yeah.
Yeah, it's literally how I felt. But I did then realize, actually, I was already a hairdresser, went off, had quite a few years off, and then came back and thought, no, I really love hair. So I came back and got back into salon work, which is when I joined Trevor's.
Yeah.
But I know that there's just been certain things in my life that I've really liked. Like I loved biology at school, and I loved as well food tech.
Yeah.
And in food tech, there was always these discussions about the process of how to get food on the shelf. And I always found that fascinating as well. And we did discuss that quite a lot, and I did a project, at school on it, etc. So it's interesting now of what I'm doing based on where my interests were quite early on. But obviously I would never have known that at the time.
No.
And then the other thing is I never really wanted my own business.
No.
And like I said, I didn't even think I wanted to have kids. I had kids, I had twins.
Yeah.
And then my husband is an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so I've just, listened to him for many years. And I put that very politely.
Tolerated.
Yeah. And then I've seen other people open businesses, etc. My sister is also her husband had businesses, and they've always done really well. And I just thought, oh, maybe I could have a go. What else am I going to do now? I've traveled, I've had my kids, and I was like, honestly, I did in lockdown think, what next? What am I going to do next? And
Do you think
Yeah.
traveling opens your mind to possibilities? And um, I always think it's if you're able to, it's a great thing to do because you realize that people are people wherever in the world,
Oh, 100%.
and 99.9% of them are all very friendly and will help
Yeah.
you. And
It's only a few that
uh,
spoil it for the rest of us.
yeah, and communicating with people,
Mm,
it's and taking away fear of that
yeah.
and coming through challenging experiences and where it might be raining and you don't have your jacket and you got your bag and and you got like £2 to your name, that kind of thing. But do you think I always think that's quite a valuable experience if you're doing something that is your name attached to it and it's a brave thing to do, isn't it? There's a lot of courage that goes
Yeah.
with that.
I mean, I do think traveling, I went on my own. Not that I ever felt that I was on my own, actually, because you
Yeah.
just meet so many like-minded people. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I have got some great friends even now from my travel days. Like,
Yeah.
it was just a brilliant part of my life.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it's definitely made me probably more grounded, actually,
Yeah.
I think, as a person. And I realized when I came back, I remember the first thing I did when I got back was actually I took the TV out of my bedroom. I
Right.
thought, I don't want to sit and watch TV like almost ever again because I know there's a whole world out there. So
Yeah.
I feel quite strongly about all the possibilities of life.
Yeah.
I do feel that obviously you do need money to do these things a lot of the time, but actually on a shoestring I went traveling,
Mm.
staying in tents and backpackers and whatever. Um, And I don't think there's any other way to do it. I don't think
Yeah.
if you stay in one big posh hotel to the next, they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do it on a shoestring and you travel the world
Mm.
and you meet real people,
Yeah.
it's yeah, opens your eyes, definitely.
Um, Taking the TV out is quite interesting. We had a guy called Michael Ross on a few weeks. It went live last week, and he has a remarkable life of having. He's been a microbiologist. He actually has trained to be a hair stylist and had his own salon for 18 years or something like that. And
Amazing.
but he's also an author. He's had art exhibitions in New York and all this. And he's got a fitness brand. How do you?
Wow.
I know you're not young, but how the hell have you fitted all that into your life? He says, well, I've never been a big watcher of TV. And so I'll write in the evenings or I'll do something else. Or okay. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Modu and about HT4, often I would, work in the sun all day,
Yeah.
sort out the children, do,
Yeah.
meals and activities and all the rest of it, get them off to bed, and then about 9 o'clock I'd open up the laptop and I'd do a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And it's great. I really, really enjoyed it. I know they're in bed, they're safe, they're not going to annoy me anymore. So great, 2 hours, brilliant. So yeah, there was very little to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the future hold for the industry and for the business? And what do you see?
So clinics are going to partner with us.
Of course.
Of course. No, yeah, we would really like to obviously grow,
Yeah.
support as many clinics as we can
Yeah.
with our patients, who in turn become our patients, essentially. We're looking after them. We really care about them.
Mm.
And yeah, go around the world.
Do you see having more of a role with making the aftercare part of it more structured and
Yeah, we really want to make it more
yeah.
structured. Yeah, because surgery has come a long way.
Mm.
It's an amazing procedure.
Yeah.
Like I said before, the attention to detail is incredible.
Mm.
And if this was also included in our HT4,
Yeah.
you've just polished off your whole service, haven't
Yeah.
you? We're supporting the clinic, supporting the patient, perfect system for aftercare, and bespokely made for
Mm.
hair transplant procedures.
Mm.
And And yeah, it would just
And
polish off their services.
and so if anyone was interested, clinics interested in getting in contact, would it be at modu.com or
Yeah,
yeah.
modu.com. Yeah, there. And we have, you can actually sign up to become a partner, and then you have your own space, and you can order product online for the clinic
Right.
through your own portal, and then you can monitor yourselves, etc. Or you can email me directly,
Yeah.
and I can also take orders as well. But it's all on tech. So yeah,
Sounds easy.
it's very easy. Yeah, very easy. Yeah, no, we've made it as easy as possible. So
Yeah.
it's very easy to to work with us
Mm,
and for us to help you, support you.
yeah.
And we even have on our website,
Mm.
you can call up and there's an AI agent there ready for
Okay.
you,
Yeah, yeah.
can answer questions, etc.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
That sounds fun.
yeah.
That sounds like perfect place to start. Thanks so much for
Thank
coming and
you.
talking about it. It's amazing doing these podcasts, how much you learn about what's out there in the world that you had no idea about before,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's been really interesting. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.